Hello, I'm Katie. I'm the founder and owner and CEO of Superpower of the Song. We are based in Oakland, California, and we want to say hello to you today. Hope your Wednesday is going well. In a few moments, we're going to start what is going to be our Listen Deeper series. We're going to have a guest, Ben Green, who's a saxophone player, composer, and music educator, join us. What we want to do during this series is follow the threads in the conversation about the pain points of this moment and how Superpower of the Song can create ways to leverage these issues and experiences, creating power from them, essentially, using music, both as individuals and as a collective. And we're going to draw on lots of analogies for musical concepts and the creative process, and speak to Ben in just a few moments. As soon as I see him on here, I'm going to invite him. So this is our first time doing this. Thank you for joining Lab 11 XOXOXO. How are you today? So Superpower of the Song offers online lessons and classes and workshops. Right now we have Singers Gotta Sing, and that's offered starting up in July, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Ben Green, who's going to join us in a few minutes, is teaching a saxophone masterclass this summer. And we have 7 other teachers that they're ready for one-on-one lessons in piano, guitar, ukulele, violin, music theory, performance coaching, songwriting, banjo, you name it. We could probably get you a lesson. All right. Waiting. Maybe I'll turn on some music while we wait and we can have a little bit of a dance party. Allow me to hop over to my Spotify. Any favorite songs that you guys have here? And we'll start when... There we go. We have Ben Green. How are you? Let's see if you can join us. We're waiting. Hi, Mr. Green. It's Ben Green.
Hi, Katie. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I just said a little
Glad to be here.
I don't know if you were able to watch what I was saying before this. Were you?
I came around at the tail end of it. So forgive me, my technical abilities. I actually thought I was waiting for an invite, and I'm like, oh wait, no, I think I'm supposed to go to your page. So
Okay, well, I just took a few minutes to talk about, this is our first time doing this, so we're just figuring it out as we go along, so no big deal. I'm glad you could be here. And I was just explaining how this is a Listen Deeper series, and what I'm hoping to facilitate is just a conversation where we can follow the threads of, whatever the pain points of this moment are, to create just more conversation, more space for turning those pain points into power and facilitating that through music. And we're going to draw on lots of music analogies and concepts and the creative process. And I know as a saxophone player, jazz musician, composer, and educator, you'll probably have some great input for us. But before we get into that, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey as a musician?
Well, let's see.
Can you also make the camera a little bit so we can see your head a little more?
Oh, see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay, good.
What? Okay.
Okay, we want to hear about your musical journey a little bit.
Okay. Let's see. So to understand my musical journey, the real question is, how did Benjamin Green, that's me, end up in this here closet right here? Well, to start off, I grew up in a musical family. My family has close ties in the church. Actually, all of my siblings sing. I chose not to because I chose to find a different voice. But I don't know. In a sense, I want to say destiny, maybe the family business. Because there's so much musical talent in my family. I just wanted to be a part of that as well. Um, but now the beginning for me didn't actually begin in church, but actually with school. Um, by the time I started sixth grade at Westlake Middle School, I had my mind made up that I want to pick up an instrument. Now, what that instrument was, I did not know, but I was going to pick up an instrument and give it a go. And, you know, that was about, wow, 12 years ago. I'm dating myself. And I chose to play the alto saxophone, and I had so much fun with it because I sounded terrible. Well, actually, that wasn't the fun part, but I wanted to sound good, so that was my drive. I had to get past all the tweaking and the squawking, and one thing that helped was that I had a really solid music teacher named Mr. Randy Porter.
Awesome.
He was super patient, and he would not give up on me. And eventually, instead of squeaks, I actually started getting notes out. And a huge part of my journey has been, um, you know, just trying new things. Like, what does this finger do? What does this button do? Like, hey, what's that do? And pushing all the buttons till you get something. I also had friends, other classmates who caught on a little faster or who started ahead of me. And I would, go to them for advice, get help from them. I had a rivalry with this one kid named Yafael because he was like the best in class and he was smug about it. So I always tried that I do better than Yafael. I am not gonna let him make me look bad. And these are just the musings of a kid and a beginner, but that was my drive starting out. And then eventually it just became something for me as I saw progress. I wanted more progress. Some pivotal moments for me, I would say, was my first year at the Stanford Jazz Workshop back in 2009, where at this camp, I got to spend a week on Stanford's campus, in the dorms with roommates, and it was a lot like a real college experience. You live on campus, you go to your classes, and these cases were music classes. It was a band camp, and this was my first taste of what music in school, like in higher academics, was like. And this was what inspired me to pursue music education in college. So, fast forward throughout the years, I've had many mentors. I've never really had a formal private teacher till I got to college. But there were classroom aides who would come. Mr. Porter would have professionals come in to work with us. There was this one man I met named Matt Morrish. He was, again, a great big help because he taught me so many things with saxophones, like theme and development and creating interesting solos. And I've gone to several music camps like Stanford, the Lafayette Summer Music Workshop.
Where you were awarded and recognized.
Yes, as a combo MVP, which really, I mean, any one of us in the combo deserved it. So, I take it I take it humbly as a mark of improvement that I was recognized for growth. It's never about being better than the next man next to you. It's just about growing yourself, and we all help each other get there. Um, and throughout these different camps, I picked up little things here and there that again continue to aid me in my growth. And especially in high school, that's when I really got heavy into really listening to other players like Wayne Shorter, some John Coltrane, which Coltrane is Coltrane is hard, so I still take my time with him.
Right on.
Michael Becker, I also take my time with him. Um, uh, Joe Henderson. There's too many to name, but listening to all these players, I try to think, okay, what is something that would sound emblematic of this player in my sound, and do I like it? Do I not like it? And again, just sprinkling little things along the whole journey, and going beyond saxophones like Miles Davis. He's a trumpeter, but I love how simple but cool his ideas are. And getting through high school, it was really about again learning to listen, but also just develop skills as a leader, like a teacher. So then that's when I'm like, okay, I want to try my hand at teaching. And there was one particular year in the 2004 summer of 2014, my old middle school teacher, Mr. Porter, he wanted to start a free nonprofit um, music music camp during the summer, which at the time there wasn't really anything like that, at least none that I know of in Oakland. So what he essentially did was he hired professionals and other music teachers to come in, and we built our own camp for students to attend for the summer. And out of that, that's where I gained experience floating around, helping teachers anywhere from making copies to help demonstrating parts for students and doing like private lessons and sectionals. But there was one particular day where we had to do a seminar on the blues. And I was super nervous about it because one, I found this out last minute, like the day before that I was slated to give the lesson. And I didn't know what to talk about. Um, so as I was freaking out, because not only did I just find out the day before, I also had a rehearsal that night, so I was going to be busy the whole day. So I just went about the day, and I went to my rehearsal at the end of the day. And once I finished, one of the parents there, his name was Mr. Keys, God rest his soul. He drove me home, and on the way home, he actually gave me a discourse on the history of the blues, and he gave me some points to research, and it helped out a lot because with this knowledge, not only did I just learn something, like now I learn so I can pay it forward. And the very next day, I gave my seminar, and the magical moment was seeing all the children that were engaged and getting sense like, I think we're all learning something here. If anything, I'm learning to get my feet wet in this, this crazy, scary endeavor, teaching, talking in front of people. I'm hoping the kids don't throw tomatoes and gather around me and kick the mess out of me. And there wasn't anything like that. But it turned out great. And that was a starting moment where I realized I have the capacity to convey an idea to teach it to someone. And I wanted to explore that more. And that's how I eventually came to meet you, Katie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I received your resume, and I didn't realize that was directly just before that other experience. I haven't heard you really talk about that before, but I know that you also have coming up. You're going to be a part of the Stanford Jazz Camp again this summer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's exciting.
I'm excited, helping to coordinate some things and float around as a TA like I always do. Um, and then eventually I made my way to UC Davis after graduating high school, and I wanted to study a skill that I've never studied before, in which the options were performance, ethnomusicology, and composition. And I was really curious what composition was like, so I decided to go into the composition track. Now, now my Davis years were a little crazy because I wasn't the best student. I was all over the place, hyper distracted. There were cute girls around. Um, so my first year was, we don't really like to talk about that one so much. And I say that jokingly because I still turned around and made it and got the degree. So what I did at the end, it was around my sophomore year that I'm like, what am I going to do? Because, I wanted to pursue music, but I was also considering applied physics, maybe engineering,
Wow.
because, I fashioned myself pretty good at math and science back then too. Um, but I was getting destroyed in those classes. Like the it was just a whole another level that I wasn't used to. And again, without really applying myself there as much as I could have, it was just a time with a lot of questions, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because college, I'd say for everybody, is a time to really explore yourself and figure out where you want to go in life. And it's one of the best times to do so. But now with sophomore year, it's like, okay, I have to get this together, figure it out. And one day I decided, I really want to get serious about studying music like I said I would. That's why I always said I wanted to do. So that's when I decided to look into the composition track. And I found out I was a year late to join if I wanted to graduate within 4 years because they only offer certain classes during certain quarters
Right.
of the year. So I managed to talk to one of the department chairs, Professor Amelia Trias, and she it was kind of a bit of an impromptu audition to see my musicianship skills, in which she had full confidence that if I just start in the middle and skip the beginner courses, uh, I could still hang. I was super nervous. I didn't know what I was stepping into, so it took a lot of hard work to get through it. And to get back on track, I stalked my teacher, my theory teacher. His name was Sam Nichols. I stalked him outside his office hours, with all the questions I could think of. And I had a friend in class named Gabe Litsky. Gabe, having done the beginner courses and being on track again, he really helped me out because he gave me a rundown of all the rules, like series, species, counterpoint, and just a rundown of what I need to know to kind of fast track it. And between that and reading the book and ridiculous hours late at night, early at morning, man, by the grace of God, I made it. And it was then by my junior year that I got into the composition track, in which my entry portfolio passed. And then my senior year, I submitted my junior and senior portfolios, and they both passed. And looking back, I'm proud of the work that I put into those compositions because just the composition is not an easy process. The idea of creating something out of thin air, it's Yeah, you gotta find inspiration. It's hard to. One thing about doing a composition on assignment that can be difficult is that it's like someone says, "Okay, create something right now." It's like, oh, okay. Uh, uh. It can take a minute, but if you have time, it's okay to take that time to really flesh out or come up with ideas and flesh them out. Uh, what really helps though is that you also got to like listen to a lot of music, which I do. You won't catch me going a day without listening to at least one or two tracks, at least. 'Cause I can't sit in silence for too long. So, when you listen to a lot of music, you have all these experiences to listen to and to put into your composition. It's like if you're a baby and you want to learn, you need to learn language, you need to hear it. You need mom and dad to say, you get in your face and say mama, say dada, or, in some father's case, not the mama. And you gotta, you gotta keep listening and regurgitate it, um, repeat until you know what that word means.
Mm.
And likewise with music, like, well, what does this mean to you? What do you think is when you hear this? Are there other places where you can apply this theme or idea? Um, like if you or sing along, just if you hear this and some whole other idea comes to mind, sing it on top of the record. It's okay to butcher a song on karaoke night if you can get gold out of it. you know. Um, that's also why I avoid karaoke nights because people don't people don't want these problems. And then and from there, it's like if you want something to talk about, you got to know what everyone's talking about. Because you can't. There's no point in jumping in a conversation if you have no context. There's no point in jumping in if you have no experience prior to really, to really add anything new or fruitful to the discussion. And again, you don't have to have anything to say because it's better to just listen. Get in the moment, listen, and if something comes, it will come. But it also comes with excessive listening, you know. It's like we put ourselves on this timeline. Like we gotta be able to say this, we gotta be able to do this and have this grand master plan. Sometimes just live, pay attention, and pay attention actively, and things will actually come actively, you know. And so that's what the composition process is really about. You want to be able to say something and speak to that form of media or whatever the discussion is in the music in order to, produce something beautiful, relevant, and that can hopefully resonate with people. So looking back over my compositions, what I can say that I'm proud of is that in that moment I managed to pull something out of myself, out of my head, and create something I can say, I did that. And I'm
Would you
proud of
would you be willing to play a little bit for us? Maybe share at least a part of a composition, or maybe even just improvise a little.
it. Let's see, a composition. 1 second. As I pull
Are you going to pull up a recording, or are you going to play it?
I was gonna pull up a recording unless you want to hear. It's really up to you. What does the audience want?
I was hoping we can hear a recording, but I was also hoping to hear you play a little bit. So whatever you choose to play.
I have a motto.
Yeah?
Why choose when you can have both?
Yeah.
Okay. The ah. Mm, real quick. So here's a composition I wrote my junior year. It's a brief little piece called Waltz for Duty, which is the nickname of my niece.
Oh.
She doesn't like it when I call her that because apparently only her mom and dad can. But at the same time, I still wrote it for her, so man. And then repeat. And so, and so this piece I wrote with the intention for people to improvise over it. And that goes into the jazz tradition, which my favorite thing about jazz is that if there's ever a time to be a team player and an individual at the same time, that is the genre for it. Because the tradition of jazz is to improvise, but even as you improvise, it's about being in the conversation and being in the moment with the rest of the band as you stand up. It's more so like in a meeting, you have the microphone, you have the floor, and everyone else is listening, but you want to at the same time respond to their reactions to what you have to say. Now, let's see, for tune. Now for myself, one of the saxophones I love and I love his sound is Sonny Rollins. He's like, actually, can I say up here? Oh, my hand's not even on the screen. That's where he is on just legendary status. Mr. Rollins, who retired about a year or two ago. Now, he, but his music still lives on. And what I would like to play for you is a blues title written by Sonny, titled Tenor Madness.
What is it called?
Tenor Madness.
Tenor Madness.
Tenor Madness.
All right. I'm going to give you some applause if I can. Right there.
So what I did there, is a bit of a creative approach. Typically you see a jazz performance, you see people start with the melody and then they go into the They start with the melody and then they go into solos and they take the melody out. Well, what I chose, but here I did a bit of a different approach in which I started with the bass line just to give it an introduction on one chorus, like a vamp. Then I actually did it backwards. I started with the improv, and then I went into the melody in the next chorus, and then finished up with like a little bit of cadenza. And so, one thing about jazz, and again, as a composer, I cannot remember who said this. So, this isn't, so no, it's not an original quote. The name escapes me right now. That composition is improvisation slowed down, and improvisation is composition sped up. They're both the same thing. It's just one is spontaneous in the moment, whereas the other is long and drawn out.
Yeah.
So it's still very much in tune to the route that I've chosen to take in music.
Right on. So you have a jazz masterclass coming up sometime this summer.
Yes,
Sometime
I
this
do.
summer. Yeah. And what are you hoping to impart to the students who participate?
Well, what I want the students to really take away from the class is, if anything else, active listening.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a musician studying another musician, either a legend, living, not living, musicians, we always look to the past to create the future. But how do we do that? What is active listening when it comes to studying your instrument? It's like, well, you gotta understand that different artists, we use different paints. We have different paints on our palettes to create the works of art that we materialize in the world. And the goal of the class is to look at the painting, and I mean it metaphorically.
Metaphorically, yes, we can follow that.
We look at the painting, and we want to see pay attention to the different hues and how they add to the beauty of this piece, to the beauty of the work. And we take that painting, we take these ideas and see if we can apply it to our own playing. And as we listen to the legends, and even more importantly, each other, because we're still alive today, and we carry the tradition forward, it's about opening each other up to constructive criticism, as well as self-reflection. What do I like about this performance? What do I hear in this message? What do I take away from this person's playing? But whether it be an elder, someone younger, or just a peer. What do I take away from it? What can I impart? So that we can all grow. Again, it's more so, I think of it as like a listening party for saxophonists. We listen to each other and we listen to recordings together.
Sounds great. I wanted to also make a plug for your one-on-one lessons that you teach.
Okay.
Yeah. So you also teach one-on-one to beginners and intermediate. And do you also do any composing instruction? We haven't talked about that yet, but have you ever considered that?
I've thought about it. I haven't explored that route yet, to be honest. I might be open to that down the line. At the current moment, I'm focused on the saxophone and still upping my own compositions, because while I can say that I have a degree, and I'll very much boast that I have a degree in composition, I know that I still have a long way to go before I just consider myself a master at anything. And if anything, I would consider myself forever the student.
So do you have any recording projects that you're doing right now?
Let's see, recording projects. Well, I'm still building my studio, but I have some compositions in mind that I want to start collaborating with other musicians on to start fleshing them out. And this whole situation with COVID-19, uh, it's unfortunate in that everyone's lives is being uprooted. And I'm sure not just myself, but everyone who's watching and listening can say that they've lost something due to COVID, something valuable, whether it's work, money, time, even loved ones. But at the same time, I can also count myself blessed that the music community is still here. And now it's really more so we all have nothing but time. So I want to maximize this time to still create. Because I don't think, I think of creation as life. And, even though COVID is um, killing everything around us, with jobs and opportunities and even people, life still goes on. And um, the best that I think we all can do is to keep making life happen.
I hear that. Yeah, it is a really unique moment. And do you think any of the things that are inspiring you right now are part of like the dynamics of what's going on, or where are you drawing in your inspiration?
Hmm. Where do I draw inspiration? Hmm. Where do I draw? I will say the people around me. The people who've influenced my playing, anyone who's ever inspired me to be greater and encouraged me to put myself out there. I would say that's my fuel to keep pushing.
Right on. Um, yeah. So
So today's edition of Superpower of the
this
Song interview.
listening, yeah, listen deeper. I mean, I think you definitely. The name of the series is Listen Deeper. We're going to be doing this Wednesdays at noon. So the conversation is kind of a reflection of what you're talking about in the musical process, is like learning to be an active listener, learning to listen to each other's processes, draw strength from them. And, people watching this could draw inspiration from you as somebody who's continuing to make music happen, and can hopefully get inspired to pick up an instrument like you did and persevere, because it does take some perseverance. There's always something that's going to be serve as an obstacle, right? So
Right.
yeah, appreciate your presence and positivity with everything.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Awesome. All right, well, Ben Green, you can sign up for lessons or his classes at our website at superpowerofthesong.com. And you probably have your own social media. Do you post out on social media?
Um, I actually haven't, which that's more of a technical question. Like, how do I post that on social media? I only know how to share it via Google Drive.
All right, so maybe we need to get you some more support on that.
Yeah.
Well, this is a starting point.
Yeah. It's you know, with building this class, I gotta say that it's that's a new experience for me. Like creating a whole class setting. Like, as I was typing up the course description, I'm like, wow, I'm really typing up a syllabus. Wow. I'm like, I'm gonna tell Ed about this. Wait till mom hears about this. And
Yeah, you've risen to the occasion, and it doesn't surprise me at all.
it's a it's a new experience, but it's one that I'm excited about and proud to say that I intend to deliver to anyone who shows up.
Well, we have full faith and confidence in you, and we're going to keep talking it up and gaining more interest. So, helping people to become more masterful. So usually this class is for people with at least 2 years experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, exciting times.
One more thing. I actually never got to the end of the story of how I wound up inside this here closet.
All right. Good. I like you're
So,
going to bring it all together for us.
so, this is actually like a little walk-in closet in my bedroom. And I'm like, okay, I want to start building my own little home studio. Where am I going to put it and how? I thought about setting up in my room, but I'm like, that's going to take up a lot of space, and I sleep there. Nah. So then when I saw this closet, I'm like, I don't need all this space. But then I thought about something. Has anyone here ever seen the Chronicles of Narnia?
Oh, yeah.
So, the first movie was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is basically just a closet. But the idea of stepping into said closet and going to a magical land, where magical things happen, I'm like, it's corny, but I'm gonna do it. So,
That's right. It's relevant. You're staying fresh. You're flipping something from nothing into something, and you're being creatively resourceful. And I learned that those three things are you're being hip hop when you do those things. You realize that?
I didn't realize that, but cool, I'm hip hop.
Yeah. So see, it's like cross pollination of genres happening.
And so here I am. This is actually my in-home studio, and
I
that's
like
and
it.
that's the kind of gimmick or theme I was going for, which is why you see shirts hanging up the corner too.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Ben. Good luck on the rest of your musical journey, and we'll be talking again soon.
Yes, very soon.
Okay. Have a good one, Ben. Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye.